refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their gilt rings. Right, the bouncer's gilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for iField TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We are here at the press conference, the formal press conference to announce the rematch between Liam Smith and Chris Eubank Jr. June 17th, Sky Sports box office. I'm joined by Kalle Sauerland.
Proudly sponsored by Prime Hydrate.
You're sponsored by Prime?
Well, I drink a lot of it.
Get it for free, probably. From your mate Mams. Shout out Mams. Well, before we start on this, you've had some weekend, haven't you? Even for you.
Yeah, I mean, a night out, excuse the pun, a night out with Nate Diaz in New Orleans, always interesting. No, we had a wild show in New Orleans. It was certainly, it went a bit too wild. Okay, we can't really do much about what happened in the aftermath of the event in downtown. I wasn't there. I was in another bar where there weren't so many men, and yeah, I think it kicked off. I think Chase the Moore turned up after what happened in the arena, looking for revenge, trying to take on the whole team. Nate Diaz came out after that incident and thought he saw Logan Paul, I guess, and.
You surely knew that weren't Logan Paul.
I don't know. I mean, he seemed to have a good toke on a joint on the way in, so I'm not sure what he was seeing. Maybe he saw two Logan Pauls. But you know, you can't condone that. He's actually, when you're one-on-one with him, Nate's a top fella. But he clearly has a switch on him, and that switch clearly went a bit very wrong on Saturday night, or Friday night.
I mean, I know this is really not your kind of issue as such, kind of post this, but obviously there's reports of him being looked for by authorities, etc. But
I mean, you look at it; it was a very serious incident. You know, he'll have his version, and I'm not party to that. And I see the banter back and forth between our man KSI and Jake Paul overnight. You know, I don't know. I'm sure they'll find a solution to keep that fight on. But if they don't, you know. Ready, willing and able.
Okay, let's come.
Joe Fournier first, May 13th. We're not looking over you, Joe, but I've seen JJ in sparring. Joe, not a chance, mate.
We'll come on to May 30th. It's a very fascinating card, like obviously the best one that you guys have put together. We'll come on to that after the talk of the rematch. It's finally on. So,
repeat or revenge? Of course, it's going to be revenge.
So, I'm going to assume that not the delay, because it wasn't ever out there that this situation really was happening concrete, but I'm assuming you guys were kind of waiting to see how or if the situation with Eubank-Benn materialised for that fight before committing to a rematch. Is that fair?
What's fair to say is what I've been saying all along. We had a flirt around it. At the same time, you've got a certain amount of time to take that rematch. That was something Junior said in the dressing room afterwards. I want the rematch. You know, it was he's only had one thing on his mind, and he was hell bent for revenge. And you know what happened with Eubank-Benn. You know, like I said, and I think Matchroom will confirm that there was no written offers, things like that. It was a flirtation. It's a fight that I still think. Whatever happens on June 17th will happen one day. But for Junior, this was all about putting that wrong in January right. And, you know, people talk about the hold-ups. Well, the hold-up, I mean, it's 5 months later, the rematch is on. And 5 months almost to the day of the fight. So that's a very fast turnaround in this day and age of boxing. So hold-ups is a little bit, there were some stories leaked, as they were last year around the Eubank-Benn fight. You know, I always say, listen to me, people. I only tell the truth. Why are you
Okay, no, okay.
grinning? Why are you grinning like a Cheshire
You're a
cat?
promoter, so we put you all in the same bracket.
I did say,
To a certain degree, yeah.
I did say.
You did say. To be fair, you did say. But Eddie Hearn kind of was maybe putting it out there a little bit more that it was more than a flirt, as you put it. So you're saying that there was no actual kind of offers, contracts, none of this was kind of materialising regarding that?
Definitely no discussions around that. There was discussions around what date it would be or could be, but no written offers or contracts even. No.
So what was the problem in the end then? From your side, why didn't that fight take place or due to take place in June, whether it be Abu Dhabi or wherever? Why didn't that take place then?
I think mainly the timing. I think the time for Junior was now to do this rematch. It was there, and I think the Ben fight takes longer to work out. You know, there's obviously some complications around that. You've got to look where it's being held. So for the moment, really, if you look at it from that point of view, I guess the timings, you know, and the willingness of, or not the willingness, but the desire of Junior to take on Liam Smith again.
I mean, I've got to agree with you. As much as I'd like to see that Eubank and Conor Benn fight at whatever point, for Chris's career, it is more important for him to rematch Liam Smith before anything else, surely.
I think in anyone's career, I think it's admirable, and you look at the greats in the sport, and that's what, you know, Junior's journey he aspires to. Is you look at Lennox Lewis. He put his wrongs right. Look, a lot of fighters have gone out and done that, and that's what real fighters do. They want to go and avenge those defeats. And let's look at that first fight. No one, and I know Smith will say he predicted it before, and I'm sure Liam will say that today as well. But no one predicted the outcome of that fight in that manner. So that part is something that, you know, I just say watch this space. I think you're going to see lightning, fireworks, and a massive display by Eubank Jr. Because one thing he's a proud man, and his pride's certainly been hurt.
Just one more on this Conor Benn situation. Did the news a week and a half ago, roughly, about the provisional suspension from UCAD have any factors of why there wasn't any more pursuing from that angle of Eubank and Benn?
Not from our side, because that's a separate matter to holding it, obviously, in another country. But at the same time, the Eubank-Benn discussion has long stopped at that point. But from what I'm hearing, they are into some sort of a dialogue. So I guess that's something, you know, that from Conor Benn's perspective, something that he'd want to get cleared up. But I'm not really one to comment there. That's their business.
Okay, and in regards to June 17th, obviously a lot has been made of over the whole build-up to the Conor Benn situation, and also pre and post Liam Smith won is the weight situation. So can you make comment on what the weight situation will be for this fight?
Wait, in terms of what? It's a middleweight fight.
Right, it's a middleweight fight. In terms of rehydration, etc.
Rehydrations, it's a middleweight fight.
Okay. All right. No, but I'm just asking you, just because there has been a lot of talk regarding his weight around that kind of 6-7 month, people pinning that him boiling down to a weight.
I'm going back in my head now if there is something about, but there's no rehydrations, no, confirmed here.
Okay, no problem. Sky Sports box office, June 17th. Manchester Arena.
And, you know, again, Junior, you know, we had a say in what, you know, where the fight could take place and stuff. He breaks no bones about it. He's happy to go back straight into the Lions Den and do the job.
The card as well being put together. Obviously, we've got Cruz and Marshall fighting for undisputed. So it looks like boxer, and obviously you'll have your own fighters on there. You're putting together a good card.
Going to be announcing a pretty big name on the undercard from our side very shortly as well on that.
What fighter that you already have under your jurisdiction?
Someone that hasn't boxed, and I've got to be careful here, top of my head, but I don't think there's ever boxed in the UK before. Big name.
Heavyweight?
Big name.
What weight?
Very close.
All right, well, a cruiser then?
I'll give you a hint. Jake Paul.
Oh, okay. People can read between the lines of that one.
Yeah.
All right, let's just finish off by talking about May 13th. We know that's quickly approaching. I'm looking at the card and thinking, yeah, you've gone for this one, haven't you? You've gone for everyone, but I'm saying you've gone for this card.
May 13th is a banger. You know, it's obviously, you know, it's a DAZN pay-per-view card. We have to make it a banger. We want people to go out and watch it. So we've almost got 3 main events in one night. You know, when you look at obviously KSI taking on Joe Fournier. I think we said enough on that one. That's as huge as it gets in that space. Deji versus Swarms. I find that fantastically interesting. And, you know, Salt Pappy.
And Anthony Taylor.
Salt Pappy, Anthony Taylor, which could headline a pay-per-view card alone. So it is and there's a lot more to come. A few others we put out as well, but it's a stacked card. I think there's 8, 9 or 10 fights on there. So it's going to be big, big, big.
May 13th at the Oval Arena on the DAZN pay-per-view. And when's Ibiza again?
Ibiza, actually, we have a site check. That's where we go over and check the site, which I'm looking forward to. Normally I don't do
You
them.
want to come and do that with you?
Would you like to come?
I'd love to
My
come.
first ever site check, so I thought I'd me and you
Come with you, yeah.
Site check.
100%. I've never been to Ibiza as well.
We'll absolutely smash it out there. It's a little bit
Site check, obviously.
little bit early for Ibiza, but we'll make it lively. We'll heat up the island. I saw they got a heat wave over in Spain at the moment. Lovely jubbly. Let's get on a plane straight after this.
Okay, Kalle Sauerland, thank you very much. Still Tyrefield TV. We'll look forward to June 17th. I'm very interested to see what happens.
All about revenge.
Or repeat. I'm saying it from my side. Revenge or repeat.
I know you've got to be neutral.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a very intriguing rematch for many reasons.
It's intriguing simply because of how the first fight went. If Smith would have won a points decision, the rematch would never have had the interest in it because of the way it ended the first fight. So I think there's only one way that Junior will take to the ring in this, and we all know what that means. I think the kitchen sink is something that I'm thinking about here, but it could be the kitchen sink and the bathtub in a metaphorical sense, yeah?
Obviously. Kalle Sauerland, thank you very much, and we'll definitely catch up with you again soon.
Thanks, KUGAN.
Because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,